Hi everyone, how's it going? So I'm editing this video right now, and as usual, pretty much all my videos, my intro is a bit of a disheveled attempt at one. That and also the plan changed for this video like 3 or 4 times while I've been filming it. So originally it was just going to be leave the engine in the car and do all the seals and timing belt and all of that while it was in there. But about halfway through this video I decided to just pull the engine out. It would be so much easier and give me way more access. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's easier to work on the Hilux engine because there's none of that four-wheel drive gear and the transfer case and the front differential in the way. You can sort of just drop the cross member out and then you can pull the sump off reasonably easy. But it was such an effort in the patrol, I decided just to pull the engine out. It'd be much easier in the long run. But yeah, anyway, that's what's happening in this video. It might be a bit weird, chop change, not really understanding what's going on, but that's just how it's going to be. I'll do my best at editing it together in an orderly fashion. And also, if you can't see here, I've got a Movember going, so if you want to donate to my Movember space, I'll link it in the description. But as always, thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later. Okay, so the first things I'm going to start with is disconnecting the battery, dropping the oil, and dropping the coolant as well, because I don't know, but I'm probably going to have to yank the radiator out to get to the timing belt cover. But yeah, so I'm also going to see if I can do some sort of a wire tuck here. I've bought a whole bunch of relays, which I'm going to wire in. But yeah, as I've said before, and I'll say again, the last owner's so dodgy with everything he's done. Legit. Okay, so to remove the vacuum pump, that one just there, from the top of the valve cover, sorry, it's actuated directly off the camshaft itself. So that means if you have it in the wrong position, there's going to be a shit ton of spring tension on the actual little reciprocating piston inside it. I think it's a reciprocating one, but I'm going to have a go at rebuilding it because it's probably stuffed by now. So to remove the little vacuum pump, you've got to disconnect all the hoses off it, just like a normal thing, anything, you know. And then remove the oil filler cap, and you rotate the engine until the valve cam lobe is pointing straight up on cylinder 1. So because it's only a single overhead cam, you'll see the first lobe when it points straight up, so that's what you have to get it to. And then once you have it to that, you want to rotate the crankshaft off the harmonic balancer down there with a ratchet. You want to rotate it 270 degrees anti-clockwise. And then once that's done, you progressively loosen the 4 bolts holding in the vacuum pump, and it should come off. Okay, so this here is the vacuum pump. So you see it's got this little follower, I'd call, which rides on one of the lobes on the camshaft, and that pushes this up and down, and that creates a reciprocating suction force because there's a one-way valve in there. So yeah, if I have the tools, I'll probably pull this one apart, see if I can see what's going on in it. If not, I'll just buy a new one. Okay, so going to be doing all the timing and stuff today. Did get a haircut, chopped the mop off. It was getting nasty. So yeah, changed man now. End of an era. Anyway, gonna grab my tools. Gonna be pulling off all of the timing shit. It's gonna be the whole timing belt covers and that. The things with the RD28s, there's a problem they can have is they'll shear the keyway for the crank pulley. So I'm pretty sure it's a Woodruff key, which is like sort of a half moon shaped key. I'll show you when I get it off. And I'm thinking I might see if I can put in like a Scotch key or something, or just something a bit stronger. Either that or I'll just absolutely ugger-dugger it with Loctite on it. The last guy said he's done that, so we'll see. Yeah, they only really shear the keyway if your bolt comes loose, which it shouldn't do, so I'll play it by ear and see what I want to do. Okay, so the crank pulley retaining nut, retaining bolt head I should say, it's a 27mm bolt. I've only got up to 24 in the heavy hex impact sockets with the hex drive in there. So I'm not comfortable using a 16-point socket, I think that's what it's called, because the more torque you put on that, the less points it has of contact around the bolt head compared to a hex socket. There's a good chance you'll just round the edges off. So I'm going to shoot off to Bunnings and buy a heavy hex 27. So I've done a bit of work on the engine in here. I pulled off the timing belt and all of the pulleys to try and get to the front main seal down there. But the bottom gear, crank gear for the timing belt is just completely stuck on. And as well as that, you know, like the engine's in a pretty bad way. And also I've bought a GQ pump, so a fully mechanical injection pump, and I'll be getting rid of this electronic one, which will be fun. So the plan for today is roll the car back up the driveway and bring the engine crane in and yank the poo out of the patrol. So yeah, I'll see how far I get. Should be pretty fun. Okay, so to tow it out, I've got two 2-ton slings, which I've doubled back on themselves, which gives me 4 tons effectively there. And then this ratchet strap cord is rated for, where is it, 11,000 pounds, there we go. So I've doubled that back on itself 3 times, so that should give me plenty of towing power. And also with that, it's not even going to be the full 3 tons, I don't think, because the car's going to roll. So yeah, I'm going to hook that up to the, to the tail point, tow point of our other car, the family car, and then just yank it back enough so that I can get the engine crane around the front of the car. Okay, so I've rolled the car back up the driveway now, and now I'm going to get ready to angle grind this bumper off, because the last owner has welded it on, which is a big freaking pain, but should be okay. The reason he's done that is because the bolts on the inside of the chassis rails have come off, the little tacks. So when I put the new one on, I'm going to use a proper technique and proper bolts to put that one on, just so I can avoid all this pain. But yeah. So I'll probably unbolt the winch and remove that first, and then, yeah.
Okay, so I think the bumper's off fully. I've ground little angles here in the plate that he's welded on, and then I'll grind the rest off later on so I have better access. But the way I did it was I used a carbide burr on the end of this Azedo tool. This thing was literally like $40 at Bunnings, and it's lasted me so long, and it's bloody insane. I'm going to buy another one of them when this cacks out, because this one's given me such good work. But yeah, I was using this magnet here to catch on my swarf so that I didn't breathe it in and become Iron Man and get lung cancer. But anyway, we're going to see if this bar comes off. Yeah, it's almost there. You're right, got the stupid bumper off. Now it's time to assemble the engine crane and get things ready. So yeah, the chassis rails aren't too bad. Gonna get rid of this shit when I put the new bumper on. But yeah, I think the reason old mate welded it on is because the bolts on the inside of the chassis rails came off, and so he couldn't be fucked putting sliding in new nuts in the back. But yeah, it doesn't look like they're actually stuffed for me, so we'll see. Anyway, yeah, so when I put the bumper on, I'll just get everything nice and good looking, give it a spray paint, make it look nice, and I may see if I'll do anything about the rad support. I think that's a pretty common issue with patrols, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to assemble the engine crane, and to get the engine out, I'm going to have to take the bonnet off and then take either one or both the wheels off and lower the car down so that the engine crane can get in and lift it out, because it's quite a high vehicle, 3-inch lift and 35s. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. Okay, I've got the engine crane together now, so I'm going to bleed the air out of it and then roll it back a bit and then get the truck ready to have the engine extracted like a rotten tooth. So to pull the engine out, you've got to pull the whole loom and everything off. And because this is the RD28 ETI, so the electronic one, it's got all this fancy stuff on it, which is really not needed in a diesel, especially with a mechanical pump. So I can pretty much get rid of all of the harness pretty much. The only one I'm going to need is a pair of wires for the tacho, I believe, and I think you can just plug that straight into the crank angle sensor down there, which is pretty easy, because I think the normal tacho may run off that weird first injector down there with its own wire coming off it, but I'm not too sure. But anyway, I'm going to unplug the whole harness, lay that back over the side like I did with the Hilux, and then undo all the lines to the fuel injector pump. And then I think I've got to undo the bolts for the starter motor down there. And then as well as that, you've got to undo all of the bolts for the accessories down here and just let them sit to the side. Okay, so I've unbolted the power steering pump and just sat that to the side. Did that the same with the air conditioning condenser down here. Unbolted that and just sat it up here. I may have to move it around because these pipes might get in the way. And then again, the same as the alternator. I unbolted that and just sat that up there. So now I've got to unplug all the harness on the left side of the engine, including the hot wire for the starter motor. And then I'll be able to maybe undo the bolts for the engine mounts and the back of the bell housing, and hopefully get this sucker out. Okay, so I've got all the bolts undone for the engine, I think. I've just got the engine mounts to do now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack up one side, take one wheel off, and then drop that side down as low as I can and put the jack stand under the diff down there. So I'm going to just do it on one side and see if that'll give me enough clearance to get the jack in over the top. The thing that I have done, that it makes it easier than what it would be, is I've pulled the sump off already. And I don't know if you guys have seen yet, if I'll edit it together, but the sump is really like pointy and dips down low in this car so that you don't run out of oil when you're pulling mad G's. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, so I'm going to rip this wheel off and sit that down low as I can on the jack there, and then I'll see if that'll give me enough clearance with the engine crane.
Okay, so it's the next day today. Our camera ran out of charge right at the end of yesterday, but I've got the engine yanked out of the troll. So I had a bit of trouble. I saw someone on YouTube, they just took off one wheel and lowered this side down, the driver's side, down as low as they could, and they were able to get the motor out. But because I've got 35s and a 3-inch lift, I had to rip the other wheel off and then drop it down as low as I could on the jack there, just resting on the bottom of the radius arm bushing there. But yeah, so the motor's out now, so I'm going to have a clean up here and roll this back down into here so I can have some area to work on it. And yeah, it's going to sit here for a while, so I don't know if I'll be buying an engine stand or not. But yeah, I think these weigh about 240 kilograms, so nothing too much, but yeah.